Good afternoon, and welcome to the City Club of Cleveland. My name is Jan Roller, and I am president of the club. How ironic it is that at the same time a new landmark study revealed the unprecedented number of Americans seeking emergency food assistance, the First Lady of our land, Michelle Obama, launched a very ambitious program to end the plague of American childhood obesity in a single generation. While 1 in 3 kids are overweight or obese, and we're spending $150 billion a year treating obesity-related illnesses, the comprehensive study from Feeding America, the nation's Foodbank network, shows that 10 million American households are food insecure, meaning they do not always know where they will find their next meal. Of these households, 36% are experiencing actual hunger, meaning they are completely without a food source. In conjunction with the Feeding America study, the Cleveland Food Bank reported a 40% increase in the number of people seeking food assistance since the last study in 2006. This represents 223,700 people, including 85,000 children, who are receiving emergency food each year through the Cleveland Food Bank and the 450 agencies they serve. Indeed, it was published recently in the New York Times that 32% of the children in Cuyahoga County are on food stamps. 32%. With these alarming statistics, it is easy to see how important the work is of today's speaker, Campbell Goodman, President and CEO of the Cleveland Food Bank. She has held the post since 1999. The Food Bank began in 1979 when a group of civic-minded individuals came together to confront the critical issues of hunger in our community. Working together, they resolved that a single clearinghouse could solicit, collect, sort, and distribute food in a more efficient manner, ensuring improved operations for the local charities in the greater Cleveland area. In 2009, the Food Bank distributed $30 million worth of food. It has a $12 million budget and 76 employees. While Ms. Goodman has been at the helm, the Food Bank's distribution has risen by 140%. In 2006, Feeding America named the Cleveland Food Bank the Food Bank of the Year, the most prestigious award given in food banking. Ms. Goodman has been a leader in strategies to streamline services and reduce duplication of efforts in the hunger relief community. She has been recognized by a number of organizations for her outstanding work, including the Mendel School at Case Western Reserve University, where she received the Organization Innovation Award. And she gives generously of her time to serve on a number of boards, including Feeding America and Western Reserve Academy. After graduating from the University of New Hampshire, she received her master's in Human Service Administration from the University of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Campbell Goodman.
Thank you, Jan, and thanks to the City Club. This is quite a stage to stand up on. There's some wonderful little traditions that they have, and you get to sign a book, and there are books that have been signed by some pretty amazing people, presidents, Madeleine Albright, lots of people who have graced this wonderful institution, not just this stage. And I'm honored that the City Club would see us, see hunger, see the Cleveland Food Bank and the issue that plagues our community and our country as important enough to recognize by hosting this luncheon today. And I was just saying to somebody at my table that it says an awful lot to me about our community that the house is packed. We didn't pack it with my neighbors and friends. You are all here because of your interest in the subject of hunger. So I want to get started in trying to help you understand what I think is the most important issue that is facing our community today. Most Americans and most of the people in this room, thankfully, have never known hunger. We routinely buy our weekly groceries, occasionally have a meal at a restaurant, and we sometimes stop at Starbucks for our morning cup of coffee and spend an amount of money that would help feed a child for a day. I get chai. It's $2.95 if I get the tall, and it's $3.60 if I get the grande, and that is enough to feed a child for an entire day. There's nothing wrong with that, but that has to be something that we consider as we consider what we value in our day, in our community, in our giving, understanding that we have such power, the problem is so significant, and yet we have such power to make it better. I catch myself saying things like, quote, "We don't have any food in the house, so let's go out to dinner." In fact, nothing could be further from the truth. We didn't have anything that I was in the particular mood for, so we went out. We had that option. Approximately 85% of Americans are food secure, meaning that they too have that option and have access to food at all times in order to lead a healthy, active life. Unfortunately, this leaves 15% of the population in a far different situation, wondering where their next meal is coming from. To put this into perspective, we have 260 people here with us this afternoon, enjoying a City Club lunch, and tens of thousands of people more listening at home. Those of you who are here are seated at tables of 8. Look around you for a moment. 1 in 8 Americans in this country are food insecure. Imagine for a moment what it would be like to worry about whether your food will last until the end of the week, if you have enough food to feed your children without skipping meals yourself, or if you will have enough money to last the month if you pay the heating bill or your rent or mortgage. If you found yourself in this situation, you would likely be like 37 million Americans, including 14 million children and 3 million seniors, who turned to a hunger program for emergency food over the course of the last year. The Cleveland Food Bank, as Jan mentioned, is part of a national network of 205 very different food banks. There are 12 food banks in Ohio serving very different sized areas, from the Columbus Food Bank serving 20 counties to the Cincinnati Food Bank, which stretches across state lines into Kentucky, to Toledo, to the Second Harvest Food Bank of North Central Ohio, whose CEO, Julie Chase Moorfield, is here with us today. Nationally, we are diverse as well in distribution and in size. We make ourselves agree with the geographic areas that we serve. The food bank in Chicago serves 45 million pounds of food to only one large urban county, with another food bank just to the north in Milwaukee serving only 12 million pounds to 36 counties, appropriate to its population. From Portland, Maine, all the way across the country to Alaska, all counties in the United States are covered, and the system gets stronger all the time. In the past year, the President, Vice President, and their wives have visited the food bank in Washington, D.C. many times and put their effort where their words are. Feeding America serves to strengthen the food banks in the network by providing food from national food manufacturers, funds from national fundraising efforts, ensuring proper standards, enforcing those standards, facilitating the sharing of best practices, advocating for government support, performing capacity assessment, and dedicating resources to capability development of food banks. Every 4 years, Feeding America conducts an intensive study to determine who is hungry, how they found themselves in this situation, and what choices they have to make because of it. The Cleveland Food Bank was one of 185 food banks in the nation that led this effort in our respective communities in 2009, including all 12 food banks in Ohio, resulting in the largest and most comprehensive study ever conducted on the issue of hunger, which was released a couple of weeks ago. 37,000 emergency food assistance programs, more commonly known as food pantries, soup kitchens, or shelters across the country, completed detailed surveys about their programs. Additionally, 61,000 individuals offered to share their stories with us, including the circumstances of what led them to the nonprofit agency at which they were interviewed. In the spring of 2009, Cleveland Food Bank volunteers and staff interviewed 424 clients in the metropolitan, rural, and suburban areas throughout the 6 counties we serve. The numbers and the stories clients shared with us are disturbing and poignant, but important for us to know. We heard the story of a woman with 2 teenage children and a disabled husband who'd been laid off when the Archway Cookie Company in Ashland closed. We talked with a veteran who walked 4 miles to a hot meal at Pilgrim Church in Tremont. And we heard from a young woman at the Madison Food Pantry with 2 children who told us about the desperation that had brought her there. Just before the holidays, she'd been laid off from her job at a nursing home due to low bed count, and her husband had lost his job 9 months earlier.